Hello, everyone, and welcome to the official Zen Project 8 coaching experience. I'm Cassiah Jay. I want to welcome all of you who are tuning in for the show tonight. I am here with my dear friend, our New York Times bestselling author, celebrity fitness and nutrition expert, the one and only Mark MacDonald. Hi, Mark.
Hello, Cassiah, and hello, ZPA community. Cassiah, I look forward to these Monday webcasts so much. So it's great. I missed you last week, so it's great to have you back. And I miss all of the community. So get ready for a great one tonight.
Absolutely. And I always miss you too. Thanks for holding it down without me. Of course, you being our Zen brand ambassador, I'm really excited about tonight's topic. Obviously much anticipated. Lots of people are talking about this, but tonight you are going to expose the top 5 nutrition and dieting myths. And then we're going to talk about how ZP8 is different. I love that.
Yeah, you know, these are the questions we've been getting, because since we started together. Remember, I just remember my first Jeunesse event, everyone come up to me, and these questions and these myths, we hear it repeatedly. And even though when you're doing it, your friends, your family, someone at your kid's soccer practice or basketball practice or volleyball practice, they're always like little birds in your ear. So tonight, we're going to break it out. We're going to expose them so you will be empowered forever. So all the hype out there, you're going to be able to debunk in a moment.
Perfect. And that's what we're looking to do. And you guys are going to love this webcast. So make sure that when it's over, you share it on your Facebook profiles with everyone you know, love, and care about, because it's going to be some good information for you. Before we get started, as always, we've got some just housekeeping notes for you. Remember that we have a private group inside of Facebook we want to invite you to be a part of. We have a thriving community there. That is where we spend a lot of our time. We love to know what your challenges are, people in there to help you. There's recipes. Mark goes in there with great content. So lots of stuff that you can learn. You can find that by going to facebook.com/groups/Zen Project 8. And that being said, look for your favorite social network, put a /Zen Project 8, and you will find additional communities. We also want to invite you to go to youtube.com Zen Project 8, look for that channel, find additional resources, lots of videos and coaching, particularly from Mark MacDonald. So you won't want to miss that. All right. We've got exciting things coming up, Mark. In just a couple of weeks, we will be landing in Orlando, Florida for what is the biggest event of the year for Jeunesse. We've got Expo coming up. So if you guys want more information, go to JeunesseExpo.com. And there at our annual World Conference, you'll be able to visit the village, where there's going to be an interactive area for you to meet the one and only Mark MacDonald. Very excited to see you there, Mark.
Well, because I've never been to an expo before, so this is like an exciting moment for me, because I've heard about it, and we're going to be hanging it out. And everyone part of the ZPA community, part of the Jeunesse family, you need to come to Orlando. We're going to be doing a whole breakout session on Zen. We're going to have phenomenal success stories, many that you know. We're going to have great health leaders that are actually leading their community with ZP8 and making a difference. 10,000 and over 50,000 pounds have been lost in certain communities. So it's all about teaching you the power of ZP8, how to actually lead and share in your community with ZP8. And then, of course, there's going to be some great surprises for you as well. And I'll be there all weekend, from the moment the ribbon cutting starts to the moment the last event, to hug it out, answer all questions, and just rock Expo with you.
I love this. They are so lucky to get to see you. And this is such a fun time for all of us as a community to come together. So it's nice to actually rub shoulders and see people who are experiencing ZPA and get to meet Mark and hang out with everybody. So you won't want to miss it. For more information, go to JeunesseExpo.com. All right, guys, the moment you've been waiting for. You know, I'm really excited about tonight's topic, Mark, honestly, because I hear these buzzwords that we're about to talk about all the time. And I know that you and we talk on all of our webcasts that ZP8 is different. So we really want to make sure that people just have a good understanding of how Zen Project 8 is different. And we want to talk about the top 5 nutrition and dieting myths, okay? So there's lots of misinformation out there, you know? Tell me, you're excited. You're as excited as I am. But what's the inspiration to be able to really just tell the truth here?
Yeah, you know, because it's an interesting thing, as I shared, and many of you have had these as well, part of our community. I get questions weekly on these myths that we're going to be exposing. And the biggest thing is I got this instant message from a lady last week, and she's part of ZPA. She's gotten phenomenal results in 10 weeks. She's loving it. She's rocking it. She understands PFC every 3. She's balancing her blood sugar. She's in the webcast. And then she still has the little birds chipping in her ear. And she says, and her friend told her, said, well, you've got great results, but you can get even better results doing this. And you can get even better results doing this and this and this. And what ends up happening is now all the doubt starts to come in. And our goal with this webcast, and when Cassiah and I talked about it, is to help you understand that there's always the grass can always look greener on the other side. But the inspiration about tonight is to set you up with some strategies that forever will allow you to expose these gimmicks and these fads out there. You know, we've talked a lot about what makes ZP8 different. We don't have to dive into that tonight. This is about exposing the myths. So you can go to zenproject8.com. You can watch the videos. You can go to our YouTube channel, join our Facebook community. You can learn the science behind the program and the products. But tonight's about exposing all of that chatter that gets in the way. And there's two questions, and I'm going to show you this quote right now. Two questions that I want you to ask yourself for the rest of your life starting tonight. So let me pull this quote up here. I'm going to share my screen with you. So when you look at this, I just want you to keep thinking about anyone can lose weight. The real challenge is keeping it off. So these are two questions you must ask yourself when starting any food and fitness plan. Is it based on science? And can I do it for the rest of my life? Those two answers will actually tell you everything you need to know. So as we're exposing these myths, as the birds and the chatter come into your ears, you want to continually ask yourself these two things, because my life's work, everything we're doing with ZP8, our partnership with Jeunesse, our movement in our community is to end the dieting madness and help people understand how to eat the foods that they love and actually take that knowledge and make it work into the world forever. I'm fired up tonight, Cassiah, as you can tell.
Yeah, no kidding. So am I. I'm actually really excited about this. So let's expose the first myth. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so I love this because this intrigues me. I would also be a person who believes this myth. I would say that isn't this a mathematical equation? Losing weight is all about calories in versus calories out. Go ahead and expose this.
So that is probably the number one myth out there. And I just was looking at CNN today, and it's an interesting because one of the most well-known companies in Weight Watchers, the CEO just resigned today. Weight Watchers has dropped about 54% their stock this past year. And their whole premise, and I'm not knocking programs. This isn't tonight about knocking programs, but the whole premise of all of these weight loss programs and diets are about eating calories in versus calories out. And mindset-wise, it makes sense. Okay, look, I take in less calories, I burn more, I'm going to lose weight. You will lose weight to a moment, to a degree. But the problem with calories in versus calories out is that when you get to a caloric deficit, you think your body's using fat for fuel. But if you're only eating 500, 600, 800 calories a day and you're only eating 2 meals a day, guess what? Based on blood sugar stabilization, every time you skip a meal, every time you go longer than 3 hours, your body's not burning fat, it's burning muscle to feed the brain the sugar it needs. So slowing down your metabolism. And then when you get off that diet and you start eating normal calories again, you regain everything. So for a moment in time, eating less and moving more will help you lose some weight. But guess what? You're going to gain it all back. But imagine this, and I'm going to show you a visual that I hope will resonate with you for the rest of your life. Imagine eating from the moment you wake to the moment you sleep, every 3 hours, a little bit of protein, fat, carbohydrates to keep your blood sugar balanced. What does that do? We're not using food to lose weight. We're using food to create hormonal balance, because when your blood sugar is balanced, this is what happens. You release your stored fat. So when you look at this picture right here, basically, when your blood sugar is stable, every pound of stored body fat has 3,500 calories. So it's released into the bloodstream, it enters the bloodstream, and then it's burned and it's wasted in your muscle. So imagine that you're taking in 2,000 calories a day and you're burning 3,000 calories a day. When your blood sugar is balanced, there's 1,000 caloric deficit there, but it's not attacking your muscle. It's utilizing your stored fat. This is why when you live ZP8, when you eat in threes, when you do PFC every 3, you release your stored fat. So every pound of fat, you have this massive stored energy that your body can tap into and use for energy to take care of that caloric deficit. Then guess what happens? When you do a diet of calorie deprivation, calories in versus calories out, when you do that, your body slows down its metabolic speed and you eat less the leaner you get. But with ZP8, when you balance your blood sugar, The leaner you get, you have less stored fat. You eat more food. You get more hungry. Ask anyone who's lived ZPA. They're going to tell you within 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, their appetite is on fire. They want more food, not less food. It's because when you initially start, you release your stored fat. Once you get rid of more stored fat, let's say you lose 10 pounds of stored fat, that's 35,000 calories of stored energy you just burned. Your body won't be using as much stored fat. You'll have to eat more because your body is a feed as it goes machine. It's not calories in versus calories out. It's eating the right calories per meal so that you optimize the energy so that your body can maximize its ability to burn fat and build muscle.
I love what you just said. Your body is a feed as you go machine. That is really powerful. I love that visual that goes along with that too. That really helps me understand because I believe the first myth. So help me. My goodness, there's still a few more. So the next one, intermittent fasting. Let's talk about that. That's a big buzz out in, I see that all over the internet and all kinds of people are talking about it. So they're saying that intermittent fasting is really how your body was designed to eat. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Expose it.
Yeah, the two biggest ones, I'd probably say the second myth and the third myth that we talk about, because these two can be combined together when you talk about ketogenic diets and intermittent fasting. So let me talk about intermittent fasting first. It's the biggest hype out there. So people think from an intermittent fasting perspective that the concept is this. We back in the old days, the caveman days, we'd go these moments of fasting, and then we would have these moments where we'd eat a lot. And then the philosophy is that that's our body's meant to process energy. Let's just be real, guys. Back in the day, in the caveman days, there wasn't a lot of food available, so we were forced into that. That's not how our body wanted to be fed. I want you to keep thinking about back in the caveman days, when a baby was born, did a baby fast? No. A baby fed on breast milk, protein, fat, carbohydrates. A baby fed every 3 hours. A baby would stop eating when they're satisfied, eat again when they're hungry. So that analogy back in the old days doesn't apply, because let's go back to what did I talk about that first thing? Is it based on science? What science has proven 100% is that to balance your blood sugar, which is your body's energy source, you need to eat PFC every 3. From the moment you took your first breath, that's what we know physiologically is going to set you up to win. So intermittent fasting is based on that old philosophy that's garbage. Now, what the number one way people teach it is that you don't eat all morning. You start eating at 12 p.m. and you can eat whatever you want between 12 p.m. and 8 p.m. and then you don't eat anymore before bed. Now, can that help you initially lose some weight? Yeah. But are we going to tell our children that they should not be eating before school, even though every study shows that when a child eats in the morning, they perform better intellectually, that they can retain more information because that's what their body needs for energy? Are we going to tell people who work early in the morning that by fasting, they're going to function as well, even though every study shows that you're more mentally alert when you can eat in the morning? So intermittent fasting, the whole concept of it just doesn't make any sense. So that's why from an intermittent fasting, I want you to ask yourself this. If someone tells you should do that, I want you to say, would I feed my kids that? Do I feel that I'm going to function better by skipping meals? And physiologically, I will tell you is that you will get an initial result, but there's no way you can permanently reprogram your metabolism. And do you really want to starve yourself? Do you want to skip breakfast and eating after 8 p.m. for the rest of your life?
Yeah. I love how you talk about the caveman philosophy, because think about it. We have all these, new advancements in technology and science. So why would we go back to something like that? Just literally makes no sense. And I love your analogy with the baby, how babies are meant to feed and how our bodies are meant to optimally perform right on. So I guess, along with the intermittent fasting, which you just totally busted that myth, let's talk about the ketogenic diet, because that's another way people are saying, oh my gosh, I have to eat super, super low carb. I can't have any carbs. I need to stay that. That's the only way I can keep the weight off, lose weight fast, keep it off. Ketogenic diet. Let's talk.
The funny thing is, I lived on a ketogenic diet right after I finished playing soccer. I've told this story many times. I was on my pizza diet because an athlete, I ate whatever I wanted. Yeah. So I was eating pizza every day. I was in the dorms in college. I was burning. I was actually like 5 hours a day. So I basically could eat what I wanted and still stay relatively lean. I kept eating that way, put on 60 pounds, freaked out, went on a ketogenic diet, it was a diet called the anabolic diet. And this is in the mid 90s. And I cut out all my carbs, I ate protein and fat, and I would starve myself. And I took my body back down to 4%, and I looked amazing and I felt horrible.
Yeah.
And for 2 years, I was probably the grumpiest person that ever lived. And it was funny because Abby would tell me, there's no way you can live like this. There's no way she could live like this. And I would tell her, well, you better get used to it because this is what I'm doing. Because that's what we do when we diet. We tell ourselves, this is what I'm doing the rest of my life. The problem, though, is a ketogenic diet is very simple. Your body naturally burns sugar. What we do is we take out the carbs, so we starve our body of glucose, which it needs, and we force our body to focus on burning keto acids through its fat. The moment you bring carbohydrates back into your diet, you balloon up. And that's exactly what happened to me. And that's what, and the other thing is this, people in it will say, oh, I'm just gonna, an Atkins diet example of a ketogenic diet. People will say, hey, I'm just gonna do it the rest of my life and I don't ever need carbs. But go back to that question. Do you really wanna feel like you can't have pizza for the rest of your life, or your favorite pasta, or a hamburger with a bun? Who wants to live like that? See, we get so into it on a diet that we feel like we have to do the extreme like I did. And you get that result, but then life shows up. So a ketogenic diet, once again, is a temporary solution for you, but it's not something that's going to help you long-term. And in addition, you still lose lean body mass. Have you ever seen a skinny, soft person? Mm-hmm. It's because they burn muscle because they're not getting any glucose and their body's only taking in fat and protein. You need all three macronutrients, protein, fats, and carbs. That's what physiology shows us. So intermittent fasting, you starve yourself. Ketogenic diet, you take out an entire food group. Go back to this, and this is a good visual and quote that I'd just like, when you think about intermittent fasting and ketogenic diet, please think about this. If I just show you this. And this is probably the best visual I can show you. If you wouldn't put your kids on your food program, or if you don't have kids, would you put any kids on this type of program, then how is it good for you? Your kids have the same digestive system and physiology as you. As adults, we don't necessarily look at ourselves and ask ourselves the real hard questions. But let's be honest. Are we putting kids, am I putting my 11-year-old son or my 60-month-old baby girl on a ketogenic diet or having her fast? Never. They're eating machines because that's the way their body's meant to be fed. Let's get rid of the dieting mindset and start understanding that we got to feed ourselves the right foods, macronutrients, PFC, everything to balance our blood sugar the way our body's always meant to be fed.
Absolutely. Well, that's very informative. I love what you just talked about with ketogenic. Pulling an entire food group out seems ridiculous. And of course, we already covered intermittent fasting, like back in the caveman days. Well, we don't live there anymore because of science and technology and all of these advancements. It just seems absolutely ridiculous. But I have another myth for you, one that I think our audience will find fascinating. You can eat whatever you want. All you have to do is burn it off. So if you eat something, you need to work out harder to burn it off. Is that a myth?
That is a myth. So if your goal is to maintain for the rest of your life at the moment you are, then that might work for you for a moment. That's what I did, Cassiah. As an athlete, I worked out 5 hours a day. I ate whatever I wanted, and I stayed relatively lean. I could never get my body exactly where I wanted because there's a point, no matter how much you exercise, you can't break through. But I was able to maintain. Guess what happened the moment I stopped exercising 5 hours a day? I ballooned up 60 pounds in 6 months. See, this is a whole concept. No one can exercise, over-exercise. There's something called, over-exercise. If you're exercising 2, 3, 4 hours a day to try to maintain your weight, you are burning excess calories and not feeding yourself enough. I cannot tell you how many clients that I've known that are eating 1,000 calories a day, and they're doing probably 3 hours of exercise and they're not moving forward because they're doing too much exercise and they're not eating enough food. The moment you bring the exercise back in moderation, you increase the per meal, they break through and they get the results that they want. So exercise is not your foundation. I want you to write this down. Nutrition is your foundation. There is no workout that can outwork poor nutrition, period. Okay. So you have to start with your food, then add your exercise. And when the combo are put together perfectly, you're set. And in the tough moments, you back down on your exercise, stay true to your food, you will always maintain. And then when times of calmness, you ramp up your exercise, keep your food steady, and you will progress.
Yeah. So it sounds like with the exercise component, the law of diminishing returns, where at some point it's like not even working for you. And then we always see that quote that abs are made in the kitchen. So what you're saying is you really need to pay attention to your nutrition. That is the foundation, fundamental way that you are going to advance forward. And that's why you bring the workouts in and the exercise in that phase too. So really, really interesting, because I would think that too. We talk about the mathematical equation, calories in versus calories out. If I eat it, I just need to burn it off, this whole mentality. But we have to kind of, reshape the way that we think about health and wellness, especially when it comes to exercising and overexerting our body, I think is another thing that comes into play. It's hard to work out that much and maintain it and not feel completely exhausted.
100%.
So the next one, this is really interesting, because we do talk about detox. We talk about detox a lot. So this myth says after 30 days of detoxing, you'll develop new habits that last forever. Wouldn't that be nice if we could just, that's been one of my problems, Mark, I will tell you, is I've had amazing results in my life. I've even shown you pictures of myself when I was like super cut up and just like felt like I looked amazing at that point. But unless you do everything that, you had to do to get to that point and maintain it, you cannot go back to what you always have done before, or you lose those results. So let's talk about it. Will those results last forever?
Yeah, this is my favorite myth right here, because this is relevant to our program as well, because we have a 7-day detox in the free waking night phase, and results in 28 days is amazing. And we promote that, and that's great. The challenge is, we ever heard when the honeymoon is over, things become a little bit harder. And it goes along with work. It goes with marriage, it goes with kids. I mean, Abby and I were just talking about how she's pregnant, hope 16 months now, in the past 2 years with a new baby. I mean, I'm 44, she's 43. It's not as easy when Hunter was 11. So we're talking about how in your food's the same. So when you're great, that detox, and when you showed me those pictures, Cassiah, because everything was in rhythm. And when you're in that rhythm, those 30 days, you feel great. You cut out the gluten, you cut out the dairy, there's no soy. You feel like you can take on the world. The problem, though, is that's just the beginning. It's not enough forever. Your health is not something that you can end after 30 days. Can you make progress in 30 days? 100%. Can you create new habits? 100%. Is it going to set you up forever? No. You have to evolve. I was talking to a friend who just did an amazing 30-day, great results. And he had just ate out. And he went off plan completely, and he's all, okay, I'm back on. But what's happening is now it's like reality's coming in. That novelty of those 30 days are over, and he's got to bring that back. So the whole point of your 30 days is it's a start. Your whole thing with your detoxing night, it's a start. But to actually make your health work forever, you have to make it a way of life forever. And you have to start chipping away. And that's why we do these weekly webcasts. That's why you're part of the community, because we all fall off plan. We all have tough days. It's how quickly you get back on plan and how much you can evolve your nutrition and fitness with your evolving life that will set you up forever.
Perfect. So you have just exposed a lot of myths tonight. So quickly to recap, myth number 1, calories in versus calories out. Myth number 2, ketogenic diets, myth exposed. Myth number 3, intermittent fasting. You exposed that myth. More exercise. If I eat it, I can burn it off. That one's out the door. And of course, those habits after 30 days continually do not last forever. So it is a choice that you have to make for life. So before we close, any parting thoughts on exposing all of these myths?
The reason why we created ZPA, Cassiah, the reason why we do these shows for these myths, to help people understand that there's a better way. I mean, let's never forget that 75% of the adult American population will be overweight or obese by 2020. That's 4 years from now. People are struggling. People are looking for a solution. The average dieter buys a new diet book every 90 days. We must expose these myths. Share this webcast with everyone you know. I'm asking you, share it. I'm going to share it tonight on all my Facebook pages. I'm sharing it in the community. Everyone needs to get educated on this and realize that there's better solutions when they're desperate, when they wake up on that scale, and when they feel their clothes don't fit and they want to just cut off that additional body fat. There's better ways, and they have to understand that quick fixes will only fail them long term. They have to do something backed by science and something they can do for the rest of their life.
That's exactly right. All right, guys, for more information, go to zenproject8.com. Make sure you connect up in that group and share tonight's show. Of course, next week, we'll be coming to you again live for your next coaching experience. So Mark, what do you got in store?
So people really want to hear about workout burnout, how to prevent workout burnout. So I'm going to do a Facebook Live on that. So I can be a little more with my iPad. I can show some stuff. I'll be a little, be a little more interactive from that side. So I'll do that, and I'm going to do that in my home gym. So it will be interesting experience. Just be ready for that. And then the topic though for the webcast, I'm going to post tomorrow three of the hot things that people keep reaching out to us about. And once again, the community, you choose the topics. Top voted one is what we're covering next week.
Love it. All right. Well, I'm excited. I want to know about your Facebook Live. That sounds really good. Workout burnout. That's fantastic. I think a lot of people do need to spice things up. And of course, coming into a holiday season around the corner, I think we all want to get prepared for the winter months. So I'm excited to hear that. And again, just an amazing show, Mark. We thank you for your expertise. Thank you for exposing these myths and also sharing Zen Project 8 with us. What an amazing community that we get to be a part of. What an amazing program that we all get to be a part of and really be reverent to our bodies and have results that we can all be proud of. So thank you for your time, you guys. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week on the next Zen Project 8 coaching experience. Bye-bye.
Thanks. And thank you, Cassiah. We love you. Mwah.
Love you guys. Bye.
Bye, everyone.